This is an internet radio show from In Retrospect. To find out more, visit inretrospectpodcast.com. Hello and welcome to Digital Wanderlust, a show that looks at psychogeography in gaming, looking at how the digital landscapes of video games affect us as players. My name is Dr. Kris and a happy new year to you indeed. Now, this month's episode is inspired by my latest purchase. A shiny new tablet. Not really au fait with mobile gaming, the concept of playing games on my tablet didn't really enter my mind when buying it. However, I've been away from my flat over Christmas, so invariably I had to find a means to do a bit of gaming. But what to play? Well, as I trawled through the Xbox store, I was reminded of an internet radio show from my colleague Sam, here at In Retrospect, who back in December 2011 waxed lyrical about music in games. His case example was Rayman Origins, a beautiful frenetic side-scrolling continuous runner from Ubisoft, which features a gorgeous soundtrack. Now, back in the Xbox store, I came across one of its offspring, Rayman Jungle Run, which continues along the same road. Over the Christmas period, I chipped away at this title in a variety of locations. However, this is not a show about the places in which I played the game. Now, the control system, like all Rayman games, is incredibly simple. Rayman runs through a variety of landscapes, and you have to touch the screen to make him either jump or punch his way through. There are no combos of sorts really, just a single touch of the screen at the right moment. Now, when we were playing Origins at Dan's flat as a foursome, Sam advised us that the only way we could complete the game was to trust the level design. And he was right. You just have to go with the flow as the level folds itself around you as you run. It's quite incredible in that regard, and quite counterintuitive. Back in October 2011, I did a Digital Wanderlust on the concept of flow in gaming, how the player gets into a zone in which they just go with the flow of the action, with each button press a choreographed movement. I realised when playing Rayman Jungle Run that a lot of the level design is sheer distraction. It shoots past you at an incredible speed, twisting and turning to send you off course. The incredible game music is also a distraction. It moves at a different rhythm to your movement through the game. Follow it too closely and you will die. So when I muted the game, I found it easier to complete levels. This got me thinking, if I take out the music, take out the level design, what do I have? Well, I don't even use any directional buttons at all. All I do is touch the screen, sometimes touching and holding a few seconds. That's it. Just these little moments of input. Now I know this sounds cynical, and I'm not having a go what is a great game. However, I find this process of deconstruction fascinating. How many times do I touch my screen during a level of Jungle Run? How many times do I touch the buttons of my PlayStation 3 controller when playing Uncharted or Dead Space 3? What could I do with this information? Well, the answer was obvious. I would compose music. That's right. I'm going to demonstrate to you, listener, how I can use my playing of Rayman Jungle Run to compose music. Now, this is of course easier said than done. I had to plan this and create myself a proper methodology. I decided to choose the piano as my chosen instrument, based on the fact that I used to be able to play it when I was younger, and that I also had a piano app on my tablet. one of the reasons why Rayman is a good choice for such an experiment is due to the aforementioned nature of timing. Generally, each level can only be completed in one way, meaning that my playing of a level to get 100% of the items will roughly be exactly the same as someone else's. Also, each level lasts between 30 seconds and a minute. Now, as you know, the internet is full of videos of walkthroughs for games, and it was fairly easy to grab a video of a Jungle Run level to compose from. Here, I imagined a musical stave layered on top of it. Playing the video at half its speed, I noted down when the screen was tapped to make Rayman jump or punch. To make it a little more interesting, I gave a note to each jump, depending on how high Rayman was in the level. So if jumping up a hill, the composition would go C, D, E, F, G, etc. Having noted these down, I then replicated these notes on a piano. I chose 2 levels. The first level of the game, entitled Run in the Sun, and a later level called Jungle Jingle. Now, games such as Vibrim have showed us how music can be turned into levels. Let's see what happens when we turn levels into music. Now, before I play each composition, I'd like you to hear a sound recording of an actual playthrough of the level itself. Here is a playthrough of Run in the Sun. Hourly, that sounds quite complex. The music, the sound effects, all creating the impression of a frenetic race through a level. Now this is what that level sounds like, with just the button presses turned into notes. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Run in the Sun, a composition by Kris Darby. Now, what struck me when I first listened to that was how much of a slow pace it is compared to when I'm actually playing. I touched the screen 21 times throughout the level. You can hear the landscape as Rayman traverses it, jumping to a steady climb with a few ups and downs before 2 brief flourishes at the end. The further apart the notes, the easier the level. Bear this in mind as we listen to the second composition, Jingle Jungle, but firstly again, the original audio of that level, when played. And now the composition. Now it's clear to hear that this level is a little more challenging. It features 27 notes in total, with many of them close together, requiring the player to think quickly. However, halfway through, there is a relaxed pace to not tax the player too much. You also get a sense of build, of Rayman getting slowly higher and higher throughout the level. So what is the point of all this? Well, firstly, it allows us to see ourselves as not just gamers, but also composers, making secret compositions as we tap away at our controllers, keyboards and screens. Such a notion has been capitalized on by games such as Guitar Hero, but here you don't need a plastic guitar. It opens it up to a much bigger arena. Akira Yamaoka's music to Silent Hill 2 is sublime. But what music can be composed from a playthrough of it? What is its game track? Thirdly, I believe that such compositions can actually help us complete certain games. Imagine for a moment that I'm struggling with a particular level. Turning someone else's playthrough of it into a game track for me to learn perhaps will help me get through that level and complete it. Every game has a soundtrack, but every player has their own distinct rhythm of play. The game track becomes a hybrid of these two strands, something specific to the game, but also something unique to you. Thanks for listening. If you're interested in composing your own game track, let us know at inretrospectpodcast.com. Here you'll find other shows that play with perspectives of gaming. You can find us on Twitter at InRetrospect, Facebook, YouTube, Stitcher Radio and iTunes. Links to all of these are on the site. Coming up next week on In Retrospect, Sam casts his critical eye over another gaming topic in Through the Reticule. Well, I've been Dr. Kris Darby, and this has been another episode of Digital Wanderlust. See you next month.